I'm about to be a father.
Siko ready.
Hey,
Come
did you
on.
say it Swahili? Did you?
Yeah,
Did
bro,
you
come
just?
on.
Did you just? Did you? Anyway, another episode of Mantalk. The guest this time is a member of Sauti. He's crazy. He's fantastic, and he's written a book called "Written in the Stars" in
AKA
limeandikwa kwenye nyota. So Polycarp Otieno, Mr. Fancy Fingers, the incredible award-winning guitarist, one of the king of riffs, basically. Yeah. If you love the guitar, then you know who Polycarp is. Yeah. And today I feel like we learned something, like another side, the man behind the guitar. The man behind the what?
The guitar.
I think that's a caption. I think that's what ends up down here.
We're in a great mood, as you can tell. Me and Oscar, after the last hour we have had, are debating becoming fathers, because the conversation we just had was such a positive one about a guy that has come into his power as a dad and now is sharing that power with everybody. This sentence slaps. Is now sharing that power with like all the other young people that follow him. And he's given us the story of how it's happened, the lessons he's learned, and then just so many valuable gems that I think young guys and ladies as well can take away about being a parent and a father. Exactly. So I've learned an amazing amount today.
Yeah, man. Like I thought about it. I felt myself think about it. I was like, we follow Bian's advice. But it's incredible, man. And I hope you enjoy this podcast
half as much
as we enjoyed making it, because we had a ball. Enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of mantalk.ke. As usual, we are here in Kofisi in Westlands. This is in the 9 West building. And we're actually in one of the meeting rooms they have where you can design bespoke business events. You can come, have all the technology you need for presentations. There's amazing hospitality. So if you want to use this as your business hub, we highly recommend Kofisi. The link will be down below. Thank you, Kofisi, for powering this season. And we look forward to having an amazing conversation in your space as the season continues. Now, we have a very, very, very special episode. Last season, we had a conversation around fatherhood, and we want to continue that conversation with somebody that's been championing it for a long, long time. So you can see from the title, we have the incredible Polycarp here.
The fantastic fancy fingers.
Come on.
The fantastic fancy fingers.
I like that. Triple F.
The triple F, we'll take that. The king of riffs in this country. You give him a guitar and you stand back and watch what happens next, because ridiculous things tend to happen. Melodies that we've grown up listening to, it's you who's responsible for. So thank you so much.
You know, when you told me this, man, I felt a bit old. I was like, wait,
but
how old am I? And how?
I wanted to be a guitarist. Siko ready.
But thank you, man. Thank you for
man. Like you've really like moved the musical ear of Kenyans for so long, and inspired their tastes in a way that I don't even think they understood.
Oh, great!
And for me, who listens, like the guitar is my favorite instrument. Like I can hear it when you play. Like I can literally hear that. That's a Polycarp note right there.
Can you play?
I want to learn, so I'm happy to be taught now that I'm next to the king of riffs.
Yeah, amazing. Outside of even music as well, what we always talk about on Mantalk is how important gatekeepers are for like positive conversations. And you've used your experience as a new dad to be an amazing example of a gatekeeper that literally says, this is a positive way to do it. So as much as we're going to talk about music, we really want to talk today about fatherhood and like what inspired you using your platform to propel such a positive message. Oscar loves to do the first question.
It's my first question
about manhood.
So your work is definitely redefining masculinity in society today.
Yes.
And the first question I have for you sources from the fact that we get a lot of negative criticism as men as not being, let's say, present fathers. And there's a lot of dialogue around, kind of negative dialogue around us and our form of masculinity as African men. The first question I have for you is, what is the most positive aspect of you as Polycarp, as a man? How do you express masculinity in the most positive way in your own life?
Vulnerability. So for me, it's allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to show love, to express it in a way that, you know, your kids, or I mean anyone around you really, even your fellow man friends, to just feel like, okay, this guy has really let out his feelings and he's vulnerable and he tells me, you know, what he's thinking, what he's feeling, and expresses it. because, you know, we tend to keep so much to ourselves as men, as we all know, especially in the African setting, where you're told, "Kae ngumu." You know, you can't be this CC in quotes, or whatever that means. So it's just, for me, I think I really like masculinity being defined by vulnerability, because now it really shows what the kind of person that you are, your true feelings and your true self. And then that way you connect, be it your kids, be it your man friends, and that really brings out the connection really well. So
to get to that stage, like that realization, because that's a very like objective way to look at it. Like what, I want to reach into your childhood as well, and then we'll talk about how you're imparting with your child's making their life. So I want to find out, what was it that in your upbringing that helped you get to this place where you look at masculinity in a very different way to what's typically shown?
So I mean, growing up, so I grew up in Kariobangi South.
K-South?
K-South.
Massive.
What's up? And growing up in that setting, my parents, of course, so my parents came from shags. So they were wasiwakukam. And they came to the city and were hustling. And my dad was very strict, me growing up. Like, as much as I tried to be a good kid, still find yourself in trouble, and there was a lot of punishment and just being very harsh and very, you know, very hard on you as a man. And I think the change now came after high school, when I actually sat down my dad and I told him, because I had grown some form of resentment in a way, because as I'm growing as a teenager, so I wanted to express myself, I wanted to connect with him, but there's this huge wall, you know, of fear. And he loves me, of course, but that's his way of expressing, because what he knows, or what he knew at that time, is he's a man, he's the firstborn son, and I have to be like, you know, tough on him, and this is how we make gems of men. And now after high school, after now being a teenager, and I actually attribute this to the school that I went to, which is Strathmore, where we had mentors. So every student had a mentor assigned to them, which was one of the teachers in school. And they would pick you up from class, any class. Like, you have double chemistry in the afternoon, you're like, Polycarp, your tutor is calling you. Like, at least I have some time off after lunch. But then, so they walk you around the school, and they actually engage you and ask you about life. And as a teenager, you have so much going on. You're so confused about so many things in life, and you have no one to talk to. And especially, first of all, as firstborn sons, you have nobody else to vent to. Because for me, I have my younger brother who was and still is one of my best friends, and he would tell me everything that's going on in his life, and as a big brother, I kind of guide him and tell him, I've been through this, so you can handle this like this. But for me, I had nobody, so I was seeking that, like, through my father. And through the mentorship now in school, that really now gave me the courage, in a way, to now finally, you know, approach my dad and tell him, listen, I feel like now I am getting into the world. I am now, you know, past high school, and I'd really like this relationship to change, so that I'm not living in fear anymore, and I want to see you as a big brother.
So you sat your dad down. Let's understand
that.
Let's paint a picture.
I don't even know where it came from.
No, let's paint a picture, Polycarp, because you just blew past it. Like, this is what happens in African homes.
Sit down.
No, I'll paint a picture. Okay, what was that day like? What did you do to actually?
It's kind of a blur, to be honest. I remember it was in the evening, like around 6, like this. So my dad was.
And he's watching the news.
He's about to watch the news, because news time you do not interrupt. He's very like, it's news time. So I had to get him just before the news. At that time, he was retrenched from his work, so he had a lot of time. And I had just finished high school, so I also had a lot of time. And in all this reflection and everything, I just remember we were seated, and you're seated in his favorite chair, as all dads have a favorite chair in the house. I just sat across him, and we just started talking, and then I just brought it up and told him, you know, if possible, I'd like this to change. I just put my heart out. And it was very unusual for him, because he's never been confronted in any way like that. And he laughed it off, actually. And I've said this story many times, actually. He laughed it off. But since that day, completely changed. And I saw a different view, a different side of men It also happened before, actually. So before that, actually, when he was retrenched and my mom was the sole breadwinner in the house, I saw now the role of a man, as I know it, shift. So he started, because my mom was coming home late, so my mom is tired, and he started taking care of us, because we're in school now at that point. And I was a candidate at that time, and my brother was also about to be a candidate just the year before. We are 5 years apart. So as I'm in Form 3, Form 4 rather, he's in class 7 or 8. Something like that. So he really put himself out to really make us feel comfortable, because he's very pro-education. So small things like cooking for us once we were home, because we were a small family of just the 4 of us at that time. My sister was already in school. So just the 4 of us, 2 boys and our parents. And I saw him, take up roles of washing our shirts, for example, shirts for school.
That must have been shocking for you.
Extremely, because I had not seen, and this is what I
still
always
haven't
say.
seen till today.
Yeah, okay.
I still haven't seen, I don't think I've ever seen, I think maybe with the younger, more, but from your, fathers in your generation are 1960s, guys born in the 1960s, 1950s.
It's not there.
That's really not there. I've never seen 1950s, guys born in the 1950s and 1960s. Wash clothes in the house or do housework.
Even dishes.
Or even
all
dishes.
those things.
Yeah.
There's a term, I went back home for Christmas, and there was a massive debate in my house about gender roles in the house and doing things in the household. And my sister, through this term at the dinner table, she said this is called weaponized incompetence, where basically it's that, the men, they can go and fill the dishwasher, they can hang the clothes, but they'll act ignorant to do it, so it gets to the point that the lady says, it's fine, I'll just do it. And you do that for many years, and then the gender roles just keep getting louder and louder.
That's true.
So that's interesting. It's not that we can't, it's just that apparently we wait for them
you tell yourself you're bad at it.
Exactly.
You call that weaponized what?
Weaponized incompetence.
Yeah.
So using your competence as a weapon to get the lady to fulfill the task.
You even do it badly.
Yeah.
You do it
You do it
badly. So that she doesn't ever want you to do it.
Exactly.
I just do it. Yeah, that's true. So my dad picked up that role, and that was a complete shift to me, because I always say, men out there, it's not that we're not bad. It's what we are conditioned to that now kind of defines the kind of people that we are, and that's what we know. So when you do not see your dad taking up such roles, you will not take up those roles, unless you consciously, of course, work towards it as you grow older. But if you don't see it, it doesn't come automatically. So when I saw that, completely changed
Were there
my
any,
view.
Sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
Were there any community reactions to your dad taking up the roles? Because if you're in K-South, it means you have
it's a whole community.
It's a community.
Yeah, serious, because we're living in flats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're
16
watching
houses in one flat.
Yeah, they're seeing Baba Polycarp wash the shirts, and then they're seeing him, he's put it in jig. Hey, what's going on in that house?
I mean, I guess maybe you're too young to know what's happening in terms of parents talking about it and gossip. But then these things are happening really in the house. And that's why I always say, even with gender roles, it's stuff that you agree in the house. It's like your house rules or house way of living in your house. It's not that nobody has to know, but it's what happens in the house. We agree that I'm the one who does this, you do this. It doesn't mean that because society says a man should not cook or should not do whatever, should not take care of the baby, then they shouldn't. It can't happen in your house. So it's what you agree, and that's that's the kind of unspoken agreement that was there in the house, and it really worked wonders.
How does that structure look in now your home, having grown up seeing that? Has that informed how the structure is in your house now with your...
Yeah, it really has. It really has. So before now we became parents. So we got married 3 years ago. That's the first time we now lived together.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's the first time we lived together. And with roles in the house. So of course, I wouldn't say they're gender roles, but there are roles that you take up or that suit you as a man, for example. That you know, if you're gonna be the one changing bulbs and taking the trash out, then locking the house at night before you sleep, it's a man's job, which is fine.
For sure.
And if it's household stuff that the lady feels more comfortable taking care of, is good. But then now you switch it up, and it doesn't have to be that if let's say your wife is not available, you'll sleep hungry, or you'll be mad that there's no food, or because she's also working, so you can't expect her to also do all these things, even though there's still some kind of roles, but it's not the traditional what society says this should be like. So actually in the house, like I cook the most.
Oh, nice.
Than my wife, 100%. I cook maybe 90-80% of the time. Gosh, I'm the one who cooks.
That was a conscious decision, like I wanted.
And also I love it. Sometimes you just end up, you'd actually love doing this, and it doesn't mean that because in quotes it's a woman's job, I shouldn't do it.
I feel like I'm scared for the house, The question is, he loves to cook, but do they love his cooking?
That's true. That's the question.
That's the question. But before
you love my cooking? No, they do. I'm fantastic.
Fancy fingers. You know what I mean?
Everything.
The other place, like I just want to take it on a tangent, is especially on the question of fatherhood. Your hit song, because that is what it is. When someone goes, I'm about to be a father, and I am not ready. Right? Was this the experience you had? When your wife or your girlfriend came at you and said, "I'm close to it." What was that experience like? Put us in the day. The day she texted you, or how did you find out the news?
It's funny enough, actually. I'm the one who was like, "Babe, you're pregnant."
Oh, really?
Because I know her cycle so well, and I know how, like, when she's, I was like, your periods have not come, and you are just, something is happening. So I was like, you're definitely pregnant. I didn't even say anything. I was like, you're pregnant,
and you're welcome.
This was end of November. End of November, and then we did the test on Christmas Day, actually, 2019. So we did the test, and we just waited to celebrate later on in the evening, because it was Christmas, and we're just going about our day, and in the evening we can cook some dinner in the house, and then have some wine. And let's see, the results.
It was very controlled. Very
you're like,
it's like, no pressure.
It's such a, like, I feel like there's a conversation we've skipped. For preparedness for the moment, because it's very shocking. Like, I can tell. There's a relationship there. I can tell your cycle. I can tell who you are as a person. And it's like, this is something for us to celebrate, not something for us to fear.
Exactly. And also, you see, even as a man, the reason I always tell her, like, I know her behavioral changes more than she does. When she's in her period and all these things. I know the dates. And also, you just involve yourself as a man if you can, I mean, you're in it together anyway. Exactly. And when the child comes, it is both your kid. So if you know the cycle, and this is a safe day, or this is, if the periods don't come at this time, then something is up, or we are pregnant. That way you're more informed as well, and you don't just leave everything to your partner to just figure things out.
There's a coolness about this. Like, you and fatherhood, it seems like there's no panic.
It's easy.
It was just like, look, she's not, and this is happening. Is that the reality? Like, you were very prepared mentally, like, to do this. You've done the work.
So I've been, to be honest, for the longest time, I've been wanting this moment. I've been yearning for it and saying, because I consider myself a nurturer.
Right.
So I really, really wanted to have a kid. And the time was right at that time, and it happened. I wouldn't say I was ready for it, but I wanted it. Being ready is a different thing. Like, I don't think you're ever ready, or whatever ready means. I don't know what being ready means, but with parenthood, it's a roller coaster, man. So even the song, The Issues, I'm about to be a father and a sick already, I think it's what we all experience as well as men, and even as women. So I'm representing, the dudes out there, but it's the same with the women. And it's just being a father brings, it's like it. How do you even explain it? It brings so much out of you that you never even expected to see or ever experience. And it's you, it's a part of you that now comes out that you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know I was like this.
Wow.
I didn't know this is, this is the wounds that I have from the past, or this is this is just the kind of person I am whatever. Could be I am very selfish. I just think about myself.
Yeah.
And then that changes now when a baby comes or a baby is about to come and you have to. And as a man, naturally, we are just givers and protectors.
Yeah.
So you will want to do anything possible to just keep your partner happy. And when the baby comes, you literally have sleepless nights, making sure, they're okay. You have to step up your game, of course. It just comes automatically.
Yeah.
You think so? But do you think that, because it might be automatic to you.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of men who are not necessarily present dads, right? And so just to kind of remedy that situation, I just want to know, what are some of the misconceptions that we have as men about the issue of fatherhood, about the concept of fatherhood, that now that you're living in it?
Yeah,
from your point of view.
So first of all, I'd say, let me put my thoughts together. You see, with being absent and all those things, there's a process. When you ask me if there's a process where you actually, vet yourself and be like, okay, this is what's going to happen. Because now the kid leaves you completely bare. Like when a child comes, you literally, your heart is open like this. Yeah, and everything else, with all the good, bad, and ugly stuff comes out. So there's a process where if you do not consciously sit down and vet yourself and go through your wounds and your issues, daddy issues, mommy issues, whatever that could be, and acknowledge them and accept them, and now know that, okay, this is the kind of person I am because when I was a kid, my dad did this, or this happened to me, and I am working on it, and this is what I need to. I don't want to take this now further to my own child. So that's the process that happens. And with the misconceptions, so even with men, there's not many platforms, and you guys are doing a fantastic job with this.
Thank you.
And there's not many platforms where men actually speak to each other, when you're about to be a dad. It's all centered around the mother, unfortunately. And then as men also, we exclude ourselves, but also we are not included at the same time.
So it doesn't help.
It doesn't help. So it's like when I ask my man friends, or how is it like being a dad? What's the experience like? You have to really involve yourself, first of all, I think, from my experience, is from the moment now, and I say we get pregnant. It's about the two of you. From the moment you two are pregnant, to be as involved as you can in every single step of the way, such that even when the baby comes, there's so many men out there, even something as simple as not being in the delivery room. And it's a thing, it's like, your men friends be like, you don't need to be in there. Like, why? You just wait outside and wait for the baby to come. But there's a spiritual connection that happens, and I experienced it. I can't even explain it. We did a home birth, actually. And in that moment when our son was, being birthed, and I was there with my wife, and the three of us are now into this spiritual realm, whatever that was. I can't even explain it.
Wow.
The connection starts then, and the evolution of now you as a man, that's when it starts.
Wow.
So it doesn't start now when the kid comes out, or you are not there, you didn't see it, you didn't experience it. You're not involved the first 2 years because you think it's all the mothers. So there's the misconceptions, I think, also come from us not talking to each other and actually, taking people through your experience even, and telling them, this is what to expect. It's not easy, but it's the most enjoyable thing you'll ever experience.
I'm glad.
And men are amazing. They're amazing dads out there. It's just... No, they're not even, it's just, they're amazing, amazing men out there who are doing a fantastic job, for their kids and just being present for their families. So
Yeah, my guy. Eli, you had a question?
Yeah, I was saying, I'm just glad that you're changing that narrative because not many people in your position would do that. So the thing I want to know is you've mentioned about, sometimes guys say you don't need to be in the delivery room, you're not having conversations. Now that you're a father of a few years, how do you have like an ecosystem with your friends and like a tight-knit community of buddies that you can have these conversations that aren't normally had with? Because you're saying it to the larger audience about fatherhood. But is there the intimate circle? Maybe the boys from the band, etc., or like other fathers that you can have really honest conversations. I'm struggling here. What do you think will happen when this happened?
100%. So I mean, in the band Sauti Soul, I'm the first one to be a dad that we know of. You never know. But now the extended family that is the Soul family. Of course, we have. Our CEO, our legal, and they're all dads.
Wow,
and we really involve each other. Our management, we really, there's that circle where I know there's someone I can go to when I'm going through something that's really heavy as a man. Because it gets tough, man, and we keep things to ourselves. Maybe you're looking for this deal that will get you money to, pay school fees or whatever, and it doesn't go through and you feel so stressed. And just want to go drink the night away, So there's now those close people that that I have, that are within the family, that we just sit down. I can call them. I can meet up for lunch and just express what I'm feeling.
Was it difficult to build that kind of honest conversation, or did it happen naturally?
The funny thing is, actually, when you engage your fellow men in these discussions, people actually open up. It's just that people do not initiate it.
The first.
The first. But once you just initiate it and be like, yo, Oscar, man, I've been going through this. And you're not. So another thing also is men get embarrassed.
Yeah. The ego is.
The ego is like crazy because we all go through these things. So it's like. Reality is, for example, your wife will not be ready, may not be ready, not all of them, may not be ready for sex for like a whole whatever. It could be 5 months, it could be 1 year.
The girls are telling us the
2
same
years.
thing. We had some ladies telling us this on the same place. Yeah.
And men do not. So when you say that to your fellow men, some will be like, oh my gosh, really? And then most of them will actually open up and be like, yeah, I mean, I went through the same, or I'm going through the same. And this is how I handle it, or this is how, give you tips, or maybe you just feel like you're not alone, and that already just that knowing that you're not going through it alone, it already gives a serious buffer to it.
The 2 points that you've made that are particularly important. And the first one is when your wife isn't comfortable to get back with you sexually.
Intimacy,
or get intimate with you after childbirth and other scenarios of that nature. What do you think as men we should do to kind of equip ourselves for that, so that when it happens, we're not surprised or frustrated or blown back? Like, is there any practices that you have in your life that get you to kind of understand and empathize with your wife?
But what's one thing you wish somebody told you before you became a father?
That I won't sleep.
Zero
sleep. The mother already, the bond has been there. I mean, he was in the womb or she was in the womb. But you have to work for it as a man.
Wow.
You really have to. So I think the number one thing that comes is selflessness.
Wow.
That is a real.
That is a real.
That is a real.
That is a real.
I know it.
Come on.